Hi and hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Sen, and I thought today I'd come to you with a little whip and chat and let me tell you a little bit about myself, since this is a new channel and you don't know me, so I thought it might be a good idea to do some like a little introduction with a whip and chat. Today I'm working on my Peacock. Let me show you the picture of it. This is what it looks like. I just started it very recently, like yesterday actually. This is from a local store. This is from Woolworth. A friend picked that up for me at like in town yesterday. It's €8. So this I suppose would count as a budget kit, which is what I'm mainly working on. So let us get to it. I'm gonna do like the second part here of this first row. So let's get the, I still need to cut the cover here. I haven't done that yet. So let's start with that. And I know most people do this with a knife, but I'd be too scared to cut it into my canvas with a knife, not gonna lie. So scissors it is, and I dare say I'm quite good with scissors. So I cut a lot of stuff by hand with scissors every day. So I have my big tray here. I have my tools, and the way I found I like working is I'm using a basic single placer and a 3-placer to multi-place. Especially with these budget canvases, I found that using a bigger tool makes like the drills very uneven. Like they are too tight on the multi-placer, and if I place like 5 or more, then I have to pull them apart manually. And I'm using a second one just to like adjust the placing if I put them wrong. So let's see. I'd say I haven't done a green yet, so let's start with a green on this one. Let's use number 3. So if you've seen one of my previous videos, you know that I'm very new to diamond painting, so do not expect anything special from me. I don't even know if I will be able to do a whip and chat, like if I'm able to focus on where I'm placing my drills while talking. So this is a bit of an experiment to me to see if this works out. So what could I tell you about myself? And I hope my camera setting works and I don't have my head in the camera or anything. Is this close enough? Because I could put the camera closer. So I'll try it with this setup here first. So let's get to all the little 3s. So yeah, what could I tell you about myself? For starters, I'm not overly private. Like I've been on the internet for quite a while and I've told quite a few things on my other channels. So let's start off with the basics. And I've said a few things in my first video. So maybe like if you've seen my other videos, you already heard this. I go by San online. My name is Marina actually, which is fine. You can use either if you like, but that's like a nickname that's established in like the art community because that's my artist and pen name. So most of my friends use it. My family does not, but like I said, either is fine. I am, as of now, 42 years old. I am German. I live in Germany. So if you're wondering about my English from time to time, that is why. I think my English is fairly decent. So I'm mostly bilingual just by practice. I didn't grow up bilingual, so I'm not a native speaker. I taught myself for the most part. Well, I did have English in school, obviously, like most people do that are my generation and younger, but I was not very good at it until I actually started using it on a day-to-day basis, mostly thanks to the internet, but also thanks to media like books, video games, movies. I prefer English to my own language quite a bit. Like, I don't like the German language. So, especially like not in media. So if I'm watching movies or playing video games or something, I always do that in English if they are available in English. Same with books. I do not read German books unless it's like a German author and there is no English version of it. But I prefer the original, basically, to translations. And I also prefer the language overall. I do not read a lot these days. I just don't have the time. And I'm not a fan of audiobooks. So either I actually get to reading an actual book or, well, mostly ebooks. So like I read on my phone when I do, most of the time. I do not like audiobooks. Like I said, I don't know why or what's about it. I just prefer to get my own images in my head and not have people just like tell them. I don't know, maybe I just haven't gotten around to enjoying them. I mostly watch YouTube these days because I kind of feel like I've seen everything that interests me, and we're currently not subscribed to all the streaming services because we're on a little bit of a budget at the moment in my household. So anything that's not necessary needs to be cut out for the most part. So, which is also why I'm working on just budget kits for the time being. I hope that eventually I will get into the more fancy ones. And I do have a custom project that I really want to do, which I'm either gonna figure out a way to make myself, because I have the pattern, I made the pattern, and I know what I want it to look like. The only thing that I'm still pondering on is if I want to get a canvas for it, like not your classic, like not like this type of canvas, but a full on like art canvas, like the thick ones that are sturdy, that you can't roll. But I don't know the proper English word at the moment. I think it's also canvas, but you know. And then just put my pattern on it using adhesive paper and then putting like double-sided adhesive on it. So I have a printed canvas like this, basically. Otherwise I could just obviously get a blank canvas that just has the grid and then work on it like a cross-stitch pattern, which is also an option I'm thinking about. Like, I haven't decided yet. And if you're someone that has done like custom things like that, feel free to like shout out in the comments and tell me what you think. What have you tried multiple methods? Which one did you prefer? And I know that there are shops that will make you a custom diamond painting canvas. Hello, kitty. I do have two cats. One of them is hearing me talk and he thinks he can get my attention now, but that's gonna be a bit difficult. So, but yeah, that's something that I'm still contemplating, that I have not decided on how and when I'm gonna do that, because that's obviously gonna be a higher price point because I will have to buy all the drills for it. It's gonna be a massive canvas. It's gonna be about 80 by 120. Oops. So larger than anything I'm working on right now, because my largest are like what are they, 40 by 60, and this one is also 40 by 60. So that's gonna be a huge step up. So, but I've worked on like even larger cross stitch patterns. So we will see if and when I decide to get into that. So that's gonna be a huge investment either way. So maybe I could just save up a bit of money and then let a pro do it for me and just get a canvas like this made and get it shipped to me with all the drills and such. But I am very picky, and I would have to figure out if like having someone actually render it for me, or finding someone that will use the pattern, like the cross stitch pattern that I've already made, just to print it on canvas. But yeah, that's but until then I will be experimenting with smaller projects, which I will show in the future. I've already briefly touched on that in my previous video, but that's not here nor there yet because I do not have the drills for it because I ran out with what I thought would be enough. It's all trial and error with me, really. So, but yeah, that's tangent number 1, which is also something you might come to realize when you decide to follow me. I like to get on tangents, and my cat is doing nonsense in the background. I might have to pause in a bit and see what he wants, but I think for now he just wants attention. So, which I will not be deterred from my current thing. Hey, what are you doing? Stop it. So, if he keeps doing it, I will have to pause, but for now, let's see if he behaves. Because they do have food and everything, so he's just being a little menace. And he does that every time I film a video, so I'm not concerned. Just before somebody thinks I'm just ignoring my cats or something. No, he's a little menace. And every time I start talking to the camera, he thinks I'm talking to him. But I will pause for a minute and see what he wants. All right, I am back, and I hope he will be content now because I do not want him to scratch on my furniture. So I think I might need fresh wax on this in a bit, but for now this will do. So where was I? Yeah, lost my train of thoughts. That's also something that happens with me frequently. But other than that, what I do most of my time is, well, art and crafts, really. I am a multi-passionate artist and crafter. I do a lot of artsy things, and well, I've been an artist for many years, pretty much forever. I'm not gonna lie. I have always wanted to do something creative when I was a child. I was like, when I grow up, I want to be an artist and I want to make my money doing art. And for the most part, I do that. I don't earn a lot, so I'm not gonna be in like, oh yeah, I make a living doing art. I'm working on that, that's for sure, but I am not there yet. Maybe I will one day. So anything artsy and creative, like I draw, I craft, I design. Cross-stitch patterns is one thing that I do. Like my main thing has been like designing stationery, which I still do, but I have also started designing cross-stitch patterns. I've been doing that for about 2 years now, I think. I do surface pattern design. I used to do comic art. I've gotten away from that a little bit. Now I still do it, I still draw in that type of style, because like most of the things I draw for my stationery is cutesy stuff, and things that work for patterns as well as pixel art for cross stitch and such. But I sometimes still do draw in my like old comic style, but I mainly do that for fun now. Maybe I will get back into it a bit more and make some of my newer work available for cross stitch. And who knows, maybe I'll one day even license some for diamond painting. But I am a very like different, I draw very different type of stuff, like the ones that you see from some of the quite popular artists. Like the style is similar, I'd say. Let me get a sip of coffee. But I draw mainly male characters, and most of like the art that I do see is like cutesy females and such, which I do like to look at, but it's not what I prefer to draw. So, well, it is what it is. Like, everybody has their preference. But since you don't see much of those, and I've recently like heard it a bit in the cross stitch community that there's like a very obvious lack of male characters in cross stitch. I don't know about diamond painting. I haven't been in diamond painting for long enough, but well, maybe that's the same. Maybe people are looking to see more male characters in diamond painting as well. But that's still in the future. I would still have to like get a little bit more back into art and such. But yeah, if you keep following me, maybe you'll see a little bit more of my shenanigans in the future. We will see. And I do have an art channel as well, so maybe I could link that. I have not been active there in a while. It's something that I want to get back to as well, like doing my actual art business vlogs again. Those have been, well, neglected, I'd say, because at some point I didn't have enough to film there, because I do a lot of the same in my art business. Most is producing product to sell, because until very recently I have had everything in my stationery store ready to ship. So I have created everything, and I do most of the things that I sell in-house. I can make them all at home, apart from things that I cannot make at home, that I need a manufacturer for, like washi tapes and such. And well, so I eventually stopped making weekly videos for that channel, because it felt to me that it was pretty much always the same every week. But I suppose I could also just do some more chatty vlogs again, just filming little increments here and there of what I'm up to. I don't have to make it super elaborate, and I think that was something that stopped me as well. When I'm like I'm doing this video, I just put my phone on the tripod and started filming. I'm not doing like any elaborate intro or anything like that. And I don't know, I felt like for my art vlogs I had to do that, and I had to have a pretty intro, and I had to have like an animated start screen for my video and such. But technically I don't really need that, do I? Like, of course it looks more professional, but I am an artist, not an animator. I wouldn't even know how to do it, and I don't have the money to pay someone to make me a clip like that, and I certainly don't want to ask AI to do it. I touch enough AI in my in my hobbies and personal life as is. I do want to keep it out of my work because I want to be, how do you say it, true with what I do, with what I've been doing for years. And that's also one reason why I've fallen off of a lot of my art, because there was like this part of me for quite a while now. I was like, why should I bother doing it if AI can just do it better? And I know that's objective. A lot of people would immediately argue, like, if you can draw, it's always going to be better than anything AI can produce, because it doesn't have like a soul or any feeling behind what it's doing, which is true. But unfortunately, I'm a person that both agrees with that point, but also finds some of the images that AI makes objectively appealing. Like when I look at a fantasy landscape, for example, that is made by AI, there are some of those that I find beautiful in their own way. I do not consider it to be art as much as I consider someone taping a banana to a wall art. I do not consider that to be art either. But, well, I know it's a different thing. There's a lot of other issues just with AI and such, like the resource and the art theft and all the other things. But I just wanted to like briefly touch on that, not go into a whole tangent, because if you're gonna follow my channel, you will see me work on budget diamond paintings and unbox budget diamond paintings that are very clearly, the images are made with AI. So just that I'm not here saying like, yeah, I do not touch AI with a 10-foot pole at all, because that's not true. I know it's there and I can't always avoid it, especially at this point in my life. But I do not use it for my own work, because I do like doing my own things. And when I one day and if the day comes that I can afford to just support actual artists' work, I will do that. Or just do everything myself, like just work on cross-stitch and patterns and diamond paintings with my own art on it. Who knows? Well, probably not, because I do love other artists' work as well. And just working on my own things would be boring. Yeah, that's my stance on that. It's a little bit different from that of many others, and I don't know, not everybody will agree, and that is fine. I do not require everybody to agree with me on everything. So, but yeah, other than that, like I said, I'm German. I live in Germany. I live in a city, which I do not particularly like. Thankfully, I live in the outskirts, mostly like at the edge of the city, so there's a lot of greenery around me, a lot of parks and for little forests and such, so I can get out of the city fairly quickly if I want to like take walks and such. But I grew up in a rural area, in a small city, like large town, small city, call it what you will, and I would very much like to move back there as soon as I can afford that. But with the current housing situation and my financial situation, that is not in the cards, and I do not know when it will be, if at all. So that is something else. We will see if and when that happens. I do not have kids. I am not married, so it is just me. I live with my friend. We have 2 cats who are currently 13 years old, one of which has been annoying me a little bit earlier, as you were witness to. The other one is very chill. The other one's acting more like the old man he is. The one that was around earlier very much acts like a 13-year-old kitten. Maybe you will see him on my desk eventually. He can't always be stopped. We also have 2 snakes. Now that's not everyone's cup of tea. I personally love snakes. We have a ball python. He is not fully grown yet, but she's a beautiful black and yellow. And I do say she, we do not know the gender, but because snakes are like in Germany, in German we say like she for snakes. They are female, like the word is female. The other one we know, he's a little boy. He's a corn snake, and we obviously don't have them together. They have their own, both of them have their own enclosure, because the ball python would eat the corn snake. Very likely. They will not be, they will not ever meet in person. But yeah, my friend also has a fish tank, so, but, well, I wouldn't necessarily count that as pets, you know. Fish are, I like fish well enough, but they're not that exciting. Well, at least most of them aren't. I used to have a betta. That was something I would consider a pet, but, you know. So we do live in a flat, a small house, small-ish. Like, we only have a couple neighbors, but there are other houses around, so you will probably eventually hear me rant about the noise in the neighborhood. Although it is fairly quiet. I've lived in worse places. But summer is coming, and I'm not particularly a fan of summer, because it is hot, it is noisy, and it is very smelly. Like autumn and spring are my favorite. So give me like autumn and spring over summer any day. I can deal with winter. Summer though, definitely not my cup of tea. Especially in the recent years. And we do not have AC here. It's if you're like watching from America, like hearing Europeans, especially like more northern Europeans complain about heat. We do not have ACs regularly. It's not a common thing. My parents have an AC in their house. I do not have one in my flat. Like the best that I can deal with is like in a ventilation, like the little things that I don't know the English word for, that you put on the floor and then turn them on and they blow cold air. So a fan, but it's not a standard fan. It has like a water cooling unit as well, so it's something between a fan and a mini AC, but it's helpful when it gets really hot. But it's a long shot from an actual AC. Oh, that's a bit of coffee, and I just noticed that I don't have the full thing on frame. So let's adjust the camera a little bit. I am doing this for the first time, so I hope you'll excuse me. So let's see if I missed any threes. I don't think so. I think I caught all of them. Oh, time to put the leftovers away. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about me. And do feel free to like comment down below if you want to know anything specific. If it's not too personal, I'm happy to share. So let me see. With the way I have my camera set up, it's fairly hard for me to see how long I've been filming. And I think we're about half an hour, so I'm gonna do only a couple more minutes. Let's see for how long. I can yap a lot, like I can go on tangents. So I don't know why I would think that filming a WIP and chat is difficult for me. But I think I'm gonna do like a little bit more. Let me think about what else to tell you. And then, or maybe I'll just keep these at about half an hour. That's also a good idea, isn't it? Like, you don't want to listen to me talk for an hour, do you? Like, what length do you usually watch these? Half an hour? An hour? What is your preferred one? I know not many people are gonna watch this. Probably one or two. So if that's you, I'm very glad to have you here. If you're one of the 1 or 2 people that are gonna watch this video. And that's fine. I know I don't mind, like I'm partially doing these for myself as well, like to keep track of what I'm doing and all of that. And I think it's gonna possibly be a bit more interesting once I get into the monthly recaps when I actually finish something. But for now, this is what I have. I only started a little over a week ago. Well, coming up on 2 weeks. It's already Wednesday, isn't it? So this is now my 2nd week of diamond painting. So and I am doing it a lot, I find. I just have to keep a little bit of an eye that I do not, how do you say, completely ignore everything else, because I found a new hyperfocus, because that's something I tend to do a lot. I hyperfocus on things, and I find something new, like the shiny new thing, then that shiny new thing quickly becomes the only thing if I'm not careful. So that is something I am quite prone to. And it all has its ups and downsides. Sometimes it's good that if you can just focus on something and just go ham on it. And sometimes that is detrimental because other things will fall off the wayside. I tend to take it as it goes. So, well, what else? On topic. Maybe I should tell you a bit about what I do like to work on, because that might be interesting. So my favorite subjects is dragons, and I have one project coming that I found at AliExpress that I really liked, that I'm waiting for, and that is one of those that I will probably start immediately when it arrives. So I will be showing you that. My second favorite is, well, I don't think I have like a fake second favorite. I have other things that I do like a lot as well. I like landscapes. I like cats. I like fantasy images. Fantasy is a big thing for me. I pretty much like, well, I wouldn't say I like everything fantasy, because fantasy is a wide topic, and there are like a lot of things that don't tickle my fancy. But overall, I am a huge fantasy nerd. I am a Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master. So if you do not know what that is, Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game where you play as a group, everybody makes themselves a little character, and you go on adventures together. Like, it's pretty much collaborative storytelling, where you have a couple of players, depending on how large your group is. Can be anything between, well, 2 and However, well, standard sizes are usually 4 to 6 players, I believe. And then you have a dungeon master, which is basically the person that creates the world your adventure plays in. If you make your own, you can also use like the standard game world, which I don't. I make my own. And things of a story to tell. And then the players play in that story, like their characters exist in that world. They go on adventures, they solve mysteries and quests and